Yo, so what's good, y'all? We back in here with another video. And today, if you were keeping up with the NBA world, you know that Nikola Jokic was named this season's MVP for the second consecutive year, winning it over Joel Embiid and Giannis, who were the runner-ups this season. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't expect it to go back to him, especially after Embiid had clinched the scoring title. I thought for sure that narratives were gonna play a big factor and that probably would be a big reason why Embiid would win the award. But the votes came in and it ended up being Jokic. And to be honest, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I'm actually okay with it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. The race was extremely tight all season. I remember at one point it was like a 5-man, 6-man race. So I have no problem with Nikola Jokic winning the MVP, despite Embiid having a great season, because Jokic basically had the same year that he had last year, but this season he played with less talent because of Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray both being out for basically the entirety of the season. And to be honest, he deserves it, because the Denver Nuggets still ended up finishing within the top 6 in the Western Conference. Even though they lost to the Warriors in 5, which was expected, this award is not a playoff award. This is a regular season award. So I completely understand why Jokic won the MVP. So let's look at the stats, shall we? Jokic's impact was on full display this season. They had a 2-6 record in games played without him, and even when he went to the bench in foul trouble or if he needed a breather, it was easily shown that the Nuggets could even function right without him on the floor. They looked like a lottery team when he wasn't on the floor, as these were the numbers with Jokic on and off the floor this season. When Jokic wasn't on the floor in the games he was out, the Nuggets went from 112 defensive rating to a 121 defensive rating, which in comparison to the rest of the league would have ranked last in the league by a whole 5-point margin. When you rank that compared to the rest of the league, 5 points. Their defense, I mean, I know Jokic isn't like a defensive guy, but it's clear they need him. You know, he's a high IQ guy. He might not be great physically on defense, but high IQ player. You know, remember in that Warriors game, I think it was game 3, when he called out the play from the bench that the Warriors were going to run, and they ended up getting a steal because of that. Things like that matter, and without that guy on the floor, that shows right there that they have a whole 5-point margin separating them and the worst team in the league in defensive rating when he's not playing in those games. They also dipped from a 113 point per game to 109 points per game when he didn't play this season, which isn't a big deal because it's not like teams were scoring a lot this season. I think the third highest scoring team or the fourth was like 110 points per game, so they still were putting up points. That's not really an issue. But, you know, his impact was shown. It was shown in the stats, it was shown in the eye test, it was shown every time he wasn't on the floor. And to be honest, Joel Embiid was probably the closest candidate to winning the award because of the fact that he did average 30 points per game, 11 boards, shot 49%, knocked down 37% of his 3-point attempts. But I just think when it came down to it, the voters probably factored in the team surrounding the two as probably the biggest deciding factor, because, let's be honest, Jokic was playing with a bunch of role players, and he was still having some sort of success, which is probably why he won the award. Let's put this into perspective. The second highest leading scorer on the Nuggets was Aaron Gordon at 15 points per game. Meanwhile, Philadelphia's second, third, and fourth leading scorers were all better than that second guy for Denver, Aaron Gordon. Harden averaged 21 in Philly. Maxey averaged 17.5 this season. Tobias Harris averaged 17 this season. So those are 3 guys better than 15 points per game. Not to mention that even Steph Curry, when he was on Philadelphia, averaged the same amount of points Aaron Gordon did this season. So, not to discredit Embiid's impact on the Sixers, because without him we saw what they looked like, especially in games 1 and 2 of the second round versus Miami, literally last week. But I'm completely fine with Nikola Jokic winning the MVP. It's well deserved, and it puts an end to what was a great MVP race this season, and in my opinion, one for the ages. You had about 5-6 guys. It was literally rotating every day. One day it was Ja Morant, one day it was DeRozan, one day it was Jokic. You know, Giannis wasn't even in the race like that until literally like the later part of the year when he started to pick up the play And next thing you know, his numbers went up, and then he found his way into the top 3. But it just goes to show how great this season was and how high the standards are for MVP nowadays. Like, guys aren't winning MVP just averaging 25 points per game, 24 points per game. You know, guys have to put up extreme numbers. And that's what Jokic did. He almost averaged a triple-double as a center for almost the second year in a row. Last season, almost averaging a triple-double also. So it just goes to show how high the bar is for MVP nowadays in comparison to back, you know, even just a decade ago. I mean, not even just a decade. You can even go back to 2015. Remember when Steph Curry won his first MVP? He deserved it, but he only averaged about 23 points per game. The impact was crazy, but it's not like his numbers on paper were better than like LeBron James or Kevin Durant. Well, not Kevin Durant didn't play that year, but you know, it wasn't better than LeBron James or James Harden that season. You know, so you get the point. But it was a great MVP race, and I think everyone should be okay with Nikola Jokic winning the MVP. I don't see why there were so many people on social media complaining that, you know, Joel Embiid should have won guaranteed, or Embiid was robbed. I don't really think he was robbed. I think he deserved it. I would have gave it to him because of the fact I just like, to be honest, I'm going to sound dumb when I say this, but I just like some parity in the league. You know, one year give it to this guy, next year give it to another guy, because Embiid was right there with him, but it's fine. It is okay. It's okay. You know, he deserves the MVP, so we should all applaud and enjoy what could be one of the greatest centers of all time when it's all said and done. Anyways, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Link will be down in the description down below. This has been a checkup where we talk hoops and hoops only, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.